are watching Asian Tarot Queen. I am Lisa. My mom's still sleeping, so I'm like just reading real quick. We've got the alpha waves playing in the background. They're supposed to be really healing. Okay, I'm starting with the Rider-Waite. We've got the Four of Swords and we've got the Fool. So this is really interesting. This is kind of the end of one era and the beginning of a new era, and it's sort of taking a time out. And then we have the Fool, which is really taking a leap of faith into the unknown. So it's interesting because they're kind of conflicting energies in a way. When I look at them, the Fool is going straight towards this time out, but then, you know, the other way, it's going away from the time out. So that's really interesting. There's clearly this end of this era that's happening, but it's almost like there's two responses, like taking a leap of faith into the unknown, which is super active, and then sort of like taking a time out in between to sort of have like a more measured response to the change. So it's kind of interesting, and depending on your perspective. It definitely, like, the underlying cards are pretty dramatic here. But so to me, and you know, I'm in my 50s, so I'm kind of at the age where it's like a more measured response seems like appropriate. But how one responds to this energy might depend on your personal circumstance. Either way, it is kind of the end of an era and the beginning of a new era, which is interesting, because that really goes along with the readings that have been leading up to this. The reading for the year was all about this epic reset, and it seems like each month we've been like taking a different bite off of that epic reset, but it definitely seems like a lot of stuff closed out in the month of February, and the monthly reading for March was super interesting. I would maybe go back and check that out. Oh my gosh, so I pulled out the Prism Oracle and I just did this split, and I got anxiety and fear, which is not super good energy. I'm gonna shuffle it. That's kind of like some underlying energy that's going down. Obviously something's coming to an end, and that's really not the energy that you want to sort of, you know, you want to clear that energy and not really resonate there in general. So that's why I'm going to shuffle it and see where we land. Okay, this one's kind of, all right. I'm just going to do a split again. Okay, so we got protection and we got space. Really interesting, because these are both really dark cards, and like I did a reading recently and it was just sort of like they were really close like this. It was like confidence. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and if I can find it. But I feel like it's relevant. So space, this is like the ether. this is where all creation happens, you know. This is like just it's not nothing. It's but it is sort of like you do have to create space in order for creation to happen, you know, like you have to lose something to make room for something new. And then it's interesting that we have this protection here, because, you know, when I first pulled out the cards, there was this fear and anxiety. And I mean, what I got right off the bat was like, I didn't even really feel like that was my energy. Like, it just felt like it was in the environment. So it's just like, this protection, I think, is for that. It's like there's fear and anxiety around, and we need to protect ourselves from that. So, there, I feel like it was the reading for March, and it was all about sort of having boundaries to make space for this new creation, because there was a lot of toxicity. And in order to like create this new beginning, there needs to be boundaries from, there's clearly stuff in the environment that like could sabotage this new beginning. So there needs to be a lot of care and intention about who we surround ourselves with and what energy we engage as we're kind of going through this sort of like alchemical process. I just pulled out the angels and ancestors, and I got High Priest, Intend and Create, and I got Sage, Be Devoted and Committed. So it's really interesting. I think that speaks to kind of what I was just talking about. It's just sort of like really drawing boundaries around what you're not trying to bring forward, and being intentional about how you spend your energy, and also being really committed to what you're trying to bring forward and focused. Because there is this great opportunity in this moment, if it's used appropriately, if the energy is channeled appropriately. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Curious Creatures, and we'll pick some tarot cards. It's interesting, when I pulled this out of the box, the Fool was at the bottom of the deck here, so that's interesting, because that's the second time we've gotten the Fool. So clearly there's, oh my gosh, when I did the split, I got the Fool and Justice. There's this new beginning on offer, and there was a lot about that in the end of, well, all through February. There was all these readings about this situation coming to justice, and there was a reading, like there was this trifecta of readings, and I didn't even realize it until afterwards, but they were all like, time for this, time for that, time for, and there was 3 of them that were time fors, and so it was like all happening at once. And one of them was time for justice, and it was it kind of the story of the 2 brothers and the godfather that were like at odds, and one of them had betrayed the other one, and then, you know, justice, that situation was being brought to justice in the reading. So it's interesting that that comes out here. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we have the 3 of Wands. And so this is like, we're manifesting. This is something that's starting to appear on the horizon, but it's not here yet. You know, we're still healing and contemplating what we're going to bring forward. And I think being super intentional about we're going to bring forward in the next sort of incarnation. But we have the Ace of Wands, so this is a passionate, fiery new beginning. We have the Six of Cups, which this kind of speaks to like a soulmate connection from the past. And then we have Death. So, clearly there's a big change, and it's almost like we're having to cut the cords on some situation or relationship from the past that's been holding us back. Like that was a message that was coming up. There was a reading and it was like time to cut the cord and raise your vibration or something. So it's like that's going to happen in order to bring this new beginning forward. But then at the same time that that's happening, it's like we're bringing in, it's like that's what's making space for these new connections, which are more in alignment with what you deserve, you know. So, and there was a reading about that too at the end of February, and it was called Priority Number One, and that was like on building your new foundation around people that you could trust, and creating a new sort of life for yourself, you know, by sort of being super intentional about who you allow in your circle, which I think that speaks to this message as well. So really, really interesting. Like I think this has death right underneath. I think it's really, really, really important in this moment. It's like we've done all this work, bringing justice to ourselves, cutting the cord on these attachments that were bringing us down. So it's really, really important in this moment that you are super intentional about who you allow into your sphere of influence going forward, because this huge lesson has been learned, and this is like elevated sort of your consciousness, and so you're just naturally going to resonate with a different tribe of people, and that's okay, you know. But be conscious and be intentional. Oracle of Seven Energies. I'm going to pick a final card, and this message that just came through was take your time. Like, you don't gotta hurry, you know, but just be intentional. All right, so we got Oracle of Seven Energies. This is another Colette Baron Reid deck, because I've been on the Colette Baron Reid. I should just do a reading with only Colette Baron Reid decks. Okay, that is interesting because this one came out recently in another reading. Oh, okay. So at the bottom we have ears wide open, which is interesting because, you know, you hear about like eyes wide open, you know, but actually like our ears are kind of more sensitive, and I've been really getting into sound healing lately. Like you can hear in the background, I have this sound healing track playing for my mom. Like I've been finding it to be really profound, but the idea of ears wide open, in some ways it's like even more profound because we like are more sensitive. And one sort of principle of sound healing is it's just like, you know, sound, the vibration, it moves through water and it has this profound impact, you know, moving through liquid. And you know that people have taken these pictures of like water and how the structure of it changes depending on like what kind of sound is running through it. And our bodies are made of 80% water, you know, so it's like it has a sort of we don't totally understand what the impact is, but obviously it's profound. And in other civilizations that were like, you know, older, where they didn't have as much distraction and TV and internet, like, and I think people paid more attention to their bodies, and you know, sound played a really important role that I don't even think we fully comprehend now. And it's like there's just like relics of that wisdom and knowledge that are still around, but it's like I think we've kind of lost some of that technology, you know, as we've been like moving forward. So anyways, I don't know where all that came from, but it's obviously important. We have the uncharted sea. We're taking a leap of faith into the unknown. It's a fantastic unknown voyage, and we have the divine matrix. We are all connected. So, this is really interesting. Well, for one, that I was talking about water and the vibrations, and then it's like this card about the sea comes out, and we're going on this voyage, and yet we're all connected. So it's sort of like really listen and like listen to your own inner guidance and like where that's leading, like because it won't lead you astray, but it might be important to take this time out and really listen and really be intentional, because this shift that's happening is like right now really profound, but also super foundational to the rest of your life. And you might not totally fathom all the ripples that this moment is going to have for the future now, but I think the message is that they're big. So take your time and really listen and be super intentional about how you move forward from here. And that's it for today.